That never happens. That never happens. PC actually froze during the intro video.
Okay.
Probably because I didn't switch my monitors on, well, my other ones.
Maybe.
But hello, everybody. Welcome to the weekly freeze chair. It certainly is a freezing moment, and wow, we've already started, and there's 7 people in already. That was rapid. Hello, everybody. Welcome me. Welcome, Catherine. I have a feeling Matthew Shelton might join us tonight, so it's going to be a triple threat all round. I can watch today, but I got the bump at work, so I have to do something. Skip work. Just come join us. This is my last stream using this old work monitor. I'll be changing to this big bad boy later on, because I need to branch out, because the screen burn on my monitor is actually ruining the whole bloody thing. So, fun times. That's my Thursday night. But hello, everybody. Catherine, how are you? Or should I say good afternoon to you, wherever you are? Hell, I suppose.
I'm good. It is 2:00 in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time where I'm at.
Nice. How you been? Good time? Good week so far?
I've had the flu at the beginning of the week.
And last week you had the voice of The Miz.
Yes. It sucked.
Like his entire career. But
yes.
But
and classes started again on Monday, and I'm like, yeah, I am going to be so behind. So
that'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what my professor said. He's like, don't worry about it. We'll get you caught up. But he did approve my dissertation topic on professional wrestling, so that's good.
I'm shocked.
So now we're just... Oh, he was really excited. I was scared he was gonna laugh and be like, "Yeah, no."
Not really, because when you look at it, you can use that topic in a variety of ways. So that's still a good thing.
That's what we discussed. And he's like, because when you go into like your physical dissertation, it's just you and a professor. So they'll assign you a professor to work one-on-one. And he said, with your topic, he says, I've probably already got 4 or 5 professors fighting to work with you on your topic.
I suppose it's the manner of the context, how they're going to fight for it, but that's interesting. Do keep an eye on that, see how it goes. And also, before we get into it, the main point, obviously, for any show on the Weekly Steelchair, besides talking pro wrestling, is having fun, no matter who's in the chat, no matter who's on stream with me, but also the most important thing is this banner, besides subscribing to all the content that we make. Subscribe to the Weekly Steelchair, subscribe to Catherine's channel, the Mid Podcast, subscribe to Graps TV for his watch-alongs, and subscribe to Covial TV for a different contextual view on pro wrestling. One other thing, like I said, the banner. There's nothing wrong with this. Holding a company accountable for creative booking is not hating. It proves you're a genuine fan. People don't believe this, but it's a genuine fact. So, live long and suck it. If you can handle it. Or as I prefer, may the force not be with you. Before we even review this, and I know there's a bit of news obviously you especially want to speak to me about, because it might actually see how I'm going to react to this, but what's your take been of the whole wrestling dynamic since the start of 2025? We're 16 days into 2025, and has anything changed for you so far?
Not really.
Do you think it's got better?
I think some aspects in some companies have gotten better. Some have stayed the same.
Mm-hmm.
Some have gotten worse.
Mm-hmm.
But with the news that just dropped before you went live, yeah. So I can't wait to hear your take on this.
Mm-hmm.
So TNA dropped the news that they have a multi-year partnership with WWE. NXT, I believe they specifically said NXT.
It's NXT, yeah.
Okay. So in the past, we've seen how that partnership worked. TNT sent all their heavy hitters. NXT sent their mid-carders.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that's going to change and now NXT is going to send like their heavy hitters to TNA? Or is
I
this the
will.
beginning of TNA getting bought out by WWE?
I don't think for an instant Anthem are going to sell the organization in general. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think they would sell to anyone else before them because it's purely asset based. I don't see it happening. But will the heavy hitters go? That's exactly what my whole tweet was about when I said this must be equal. It cannot be, and to be, I do understand Matthew's comment about this. I don't see them getting first. They will not be acquired by WWE at all. This won't be like WCW. They won't let them get the hands on them at all. My only concern was exactly what you just asked: is will they send the likes of, from the women's side, which is really abundant, will they send the likes of Julia? Will they send the likes of Stephanie Vaquer? Will they send Delta? Because I'm not calling her Zari. I'm not calling her Zaria. I'm not calling her repackaged name. Will they send Gigi Dolan? Will they send Roxanne Perez, who's got history with the company anyway? From the men's side, are they going to send Obafemi? Are they going to send, to an extent, Trick Williams? Because to be fair, the crowd mixture may actually settle with him. Will they send Eddie Thorpe? Will they send Nathan Fraser and Axiom? Those are my key point to the whole dynamic of the partnership. If they don't show up, but we've already seen Masha Slamovich this week was on NXT in the crowd.
But she looked like she was just sitting there and like, I'm just here because they told me I had to show up.
I think she was there because she was told to show up, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think she really has any interest in WWE.
I think she just wants to just do her thing, which is continue to tour the indie scene because she's got a strong passion for the indie scene and she loves TNA. So I think when you look at it, like she ain't looking to get out. Like her mind is fully like TNA and the indie scene. The growth for that is more important to her. I think it also poses a question as well, which is an odd one, but it might work. This might flip the switch on certain contracts as well. This is something I've been deliberate about since the news came out, and it only came out over an hour ago. I could physically see some talent who were meant to be out of contract now re-up their contract, but they're split across both ways. So WWE fans, pure WWE fans only, don't care about other promotions. This one might sting you, but I think the likes of Jordan Grace will now re-up with TNA.
I could see that if they let her work both.
Because I think theoretically, that's what she's gunning for. I don't think she theoretically wants to leave. I think the only reason why she would have to leave is if no opportunity to go back was available. I think this would actually accommodate her, and I think that's actually a good thing. I could likely see the same for any younger talent. I could see the same for Nick Nemeth as well. The opportunity to do him plus going over to NXT to lend his experience as a veteran. It might actually allow cross dynamic and that might work really well. You could see the likes of the Rascals go back and forth, tag team work, continue to the feud with Wesley. He's another one. If he is not on more often, then I'll be. If I see the likes of Kalani Jordan, who I don't think is particularly ready, I think she's still too green. She's holding a title already. It's quite questionable.
Well, I don't know. After last night, Kalani Jordan might not be anywhere in a wrestling ring.
I didn't see NXT, so I don't watch it. I just know Masha was there because she posted her on Twitter. So what happened with Kalani Jordan?
I think it was her. I might be wrong.
The main event was
well, what happened was there was a something on her IG. She liked to post on IG, and now she's getting, or was it Jordan or was it Jada Parker? One of them was getting ringed on IG for liking a post about keeping men out of women's sports. Was the gist of it. I know Covalent TV talked about it last night. It was Jada
Parker. She's a good talent as well, annoyingly. She's a very good talent, and I barely say that a lot, but she's come in quite well. But yeah, I don't want to see the likes of Nikita Lyons and Sol Ruka and all their crap. I don't want to see them because they don't offer anything for me. Like, they are just there for the clout. I don't want to see them at all. Appreciate it, dude. Appreciate it. I hope you're alright. But yeah, the news, I know a lot of all round are going to say this is going to be purely one control aspect. I'll be lying if I said I wasn't thinking that as well. I think there's potentially a chance where one promotion might have more control than the other, but if they're genuinely using it for NXT against TNA, then if they are focusing purely on one level of control, then it's already dead in the water. It's not likely to start tonight. I don't see that because the card's already booked. They're not going to reshuffle the card tonight, so I'm not even going to consider tonight's show. But I think it would be from next week onwards, after the Genesis pay-per-view. I think we'll really see and ask questions. I'm not going to jump the gun straight away, but if it ends up being, say, 60-40 or 70-30 in terms of percentage, one way, heavily biased, then I'm really going to criticize it. At the moment, just like any new partnership with any promotion, because it's officially a new partnership. Before it was testing the waters. I think once it's maybe after a few weeks, maybe a month, is when I can really give an honest critique on it. I know other people are going to jump the gun straight away and make their own, and I think that's fair. But until I see something actually physically tangible, then I can't really say much. But I do have a lot of questions, and the next few weeks will answer my questions, It will answer those questions. Nice seeing you. That is one heck of a name. Welcome to the stream, sir. How are you? I see the new partnership as a way for TNA to get some much needed revenue. It's a fair comment. When you look at the 3 venues they've chosen for their 4 of the venues for their upcoming pay-per-views, I do get that. They're already pumping in enough money as they are from Anthem. Anthem's already pumping money in. They've already upped the production line, so if they have to justify it in talent contracts. That for me is the bigger thing. It's talent contracts. If they don't, then I'll be asking real big questions. Budget cuts on talent that are going, yeah. A few talents have had their contracts cut because they're not going to be there in the next month or so. I mean, that does happen. What more can you say? A talent's on the way out. Do you want to keep paying them big money? I don't. I'd slice them. What about you, Catherine? What do you think about the whole thing right now? Have you got anything immediate? Go all in.
I wouldn't trust WWE as far as I could throw them. Just saying. But I'm kind of like you. You're not going to be able to judge this new partnership, at least until after this pay-per-view, because with the way TNA does their stuff, they pre-record like a week or two ahead.
They do,
So they'll probably start new recordings after Genesis. And it was funny that this news come out this afternoon, and I was happening to listening to Busted Open today because Nick Nemeth was hosting today.
Casually.
And evidently, Busted Open is going to do a pre-show before Genesis.
Oh.
So they're going to be live on the air discussing TNA.
Guarantee it'll be bloody Bubba. If he's on it, then it's not even worth a time of day. Actually, there'll be one interesting name if it happens, because he is obviously on the payroll for the creative side. It wouldn't surprise me if Tommy Dreamer's on this.
Yeah, see, Tommy was supposed to be on the show today, but he was on a flight to head out. Where's in Texas, I believe Genesis is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So he was already on his flight, and Nemeth mentioned on the show today that he was going to leave after the show and get on his flight to do promotional stuff for TNA and the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And LaGreca was like, well, can you call in tomorrow? He's like, yeah, I'll try.
I like Nick Nemeth as a podcaster and a content creator because he's actually really good, but David LaGreca bores me to death. Like, he just bores me. He's got a voice that you don't want to listen to, and a face that you want to avoid. It is possible. Help them with money, get talent payroll. The one thing I've criticised TNA a lot for is length of duration of talent contracts. Like, certain talents are on far longer terms than talent who are actually justifiable to work around. Like Josh Alexander. For me, Josh Alexander should be your highest paid talent, not Moose. Like, or Nick Nemeth should be your highest paid talent. He's your world champion, but it doesn't come across in that way. So I think that's something I'm hoping as well, and this is something I did say on the review show. I know you were there for some of it, so I appreciate it. On the review show, I said the one thing that they should do now going forward is they should now go back to just building around young talent, around the product. And I think certain areas you can maybe phase some veterans out. Not that all of them need to go, but phase some out that you can immediately replace. Like when I mentioned, like Myers and Dango, kick them out of the system, put in the good hands, a good young tag team you can generally build around. If they don't do that, then I'll be asking questions, because now's an opportunity.
How long did Moose sign that contract for? Because I when I seen it,
2028.
Yeah, I knew it was for a good amount of time.
Yeah, 2028. He's signed until.
Mm.
He does try too hard. I want to say this as well, obviously, because it's formerly TNA related, but credit to Scott D'Amore last night for where he was. Credit to him. I want to see what happens more for him. I think he's scouting out for Maple Leaf, but I think he's looking to try and negotiate talent for Maple Leaf. I don't think he's actually joining AEW Creative, before anyone asks me. I don't think he is. I think he's more involved in both. He wants to build partnerships with everybody, and he wants to be all inclusive, and he doesn't want to fuck around. He gives me Josh Barnett vibes. You know what I mean? Like, for his blood sport, like, everyone's welcome, just don't fuck us about. I think that's one thing that Scott D'Amore will hold true, but we'll see. I agree. There's some good talent there that I would immediately build around. Immediately I would. Will they? I don't know. That's my concern.
Well, even the statement that he just made, that not only applies to TNA, that needs to apply to AEW and WWE.
Focus on their young talent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, obviously, I know I was very critical about it on Tuesday when I reviewed Raw, but I stand by it. That's 2 weeks in a row where they've left Braun Breaker off the show, because his whole thing in the crowd for me doesn't count. Like, I don't take that seriously at all. They need to really build around young talent. Let them go. Like, you've got some, not since like let them go in that way, but like let them go and take the chance. Except Lyra Valkyria. She's got no talent. Some of them are, yeah. I think they're trying to do, ironically, what AEW is doing in a way of it is they are giving me what TNA vibe is when TNA first hit their stride in the mid-2000s. You had the good core veteran talent, but you had the young talent around that you can add to, and you just let them increase their notoriety, you increase their work ethic, you increase their time in on the product, and you start to declare the veterans down a little bit. The only problem is, though, is just don't keep the veterans on big contracts. That's the only thing. The Death Rider story, I'll get you that as a mess. I'll give you that. That is a mess at the minute. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, Catherine, but I think it is. Cheers, Stoner. Hope you're doing well, my man. Hope you're doing well. Before we even reviewed Dynamite, though, what did you think of last night's show?
I gave it an 8 on Covalent TV's rating.
Mm-hmm.
It was a hit and miss. There were some parts I could have did without, but overall, I thought it was a decent show. I mean, it was getting dragged on Twitter, which means that it was a fairly decent show when they start dragging it on Twitter.
Yeah.
But there were some parts of the show when we start discussing the show that I'll get into, be like, yeah, that was really bad.
Mm-hmm. There's one promo that I absolutely thought was indefensible. There's one promo, and it's not someone you particularly like. I think you know exactly who I'm talking about. His promo was I actually had to go back and listen to it twice. You know what I mean? Because that I thought when I watched it the first time, I was like, surely this is a joke. But it's the typical New York slander that really was god awful, but the veterans schooled him, which was beautiful. So that was great. So this was his flaw, which I kind of admire. It's not hating; it's just a fair criticism. Why would Hobbs, the men's casino gauntlet winner, challenge Moxley last night when Tony, the women's winner at Grand Slam, would challenge at Grand Slam Australia? Immediately, Matthew, because he isn't Australian. That's true. When you look at it, the only Australian talent they've got on the card are from the men's side are actually all heels. Because, let's face it, Jay White is not Australian. He is
from New Zealand.
But the only talent they've generally got that are from that side is Kyle Fletcher. And Juice Robinson's injured. So he's already out. So there's no
and Mark Davis. Is Mark Davis Australian also?
He is, yeah, but he's pretty much finished. Yeah, but close enough ain't going to cut when you think about it. That's the only thing. You wouldn't even get a positive reaction in Australia anyway. And yes, he is. His promo last night generally was brilliant. The counter arguments last night on that promo were superb. It did start with an amazing contest though. And let's be real, that's what I want to see. Omega versus Brian Cage last night was 15 minutes of fun. And it was 15 minutes of well done. The only criticism I have from this match though is the ending segment really took a little bit away from what the match had done, but we got at least some of the talent out that we wanted to see. I don't think we needed Murder Hawk accompanying Brian Cage at ringside. I think Don Callis was enough, but I liked the immediate impact from the likes of Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher. I liked their impact significantly more than I did with Ospreys. Would you agree? Would you disagree? What was your thoughts on that match last night and the closing segment?
Well, we see everybody had been bitching about the pyro, so we have seen that Tony Khan was saving the pyro for Kenny Omega's return. Thought the match was good. I like both guys. I like Brian Cage, big Omega fan.
Mm-hmm.
I will have to disagree with you about Lance Archer. I think they're trying to focus on Archer and Cage being a tag team together, so that's why he came out as his partner.
Mm-hmm.
It really didn't bother me he was there. I always loved Don Callis on commentary.
Well, he's brilliant. I would kick Excalibur off commentary now and make Don Callis permanent.
The ending, it was kind of wonky after, they all jump him.
Yeah.
You kind of knew Ospreay was going to come and save him or help out. I kind of feel that we're going to get Ospreay Omega versus maybe Takeshita and Fletcher at Grand Slam.
It looks like it now, yeah.
But I also think I have a feeling either Forbidden Door, maybe Revolution, which I think Revolution might be too soon, that we get Omega Takeshita. Because they've been setting that up because, Takeshita has like 2 wins over Omega. 2 or 3 wins already over Omega.
Agreed.
And if they want to put a title on Kenny Omega, which I don't think they need to just jump the gun and give him the world title, let him have this title, which is the international title. Omega likes to go wrestle in Japan. He could take it just like Takeshita does.
Mm-hmm. There is good implications as well if you do put the international title on him. It does build up to the all-in main event as well, which will 100% be Okada versus Omega.
Oh, yeah.
there's your opportunity that I've been saying for a while. If that happens, and by then he is still international champion, just make it title versus title. Just belt them both and we don't need the Continental Classic as a title. It should be a tournament for the World Title shot at World's End, in my opinion. It doesn't need to be, you don't need a championship for that. But I think certainly you could make the strength of it by mixing them together, whether that would be. There's a strength to it as well, and you get a definitive winner as well between Okada and Omega. And then the first challenger there, whoever wins that, I mean, you've got a heel Hangman, you've got Swerve, you've got Ricochet to an extent as well, Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, if they're not tag champs by then. If he's healthy and he's back by that point, you could put Juice Robinson in the conversation because he works really well in the mid-card scene. It does give you options as well, like even like Brian Cage is another one. I think he'll have some sort of singles gold in 2025. He is an excellent wrestler. I've always liked Brian Cage. It just makes you wonder. It just makes you wonder what they need to do. And yeah, I think that's a fair comment. You don't want to get them all in straight away. You do want to build some up, and I think that's fair. I think that's why they'll go as far as they can with some. Okada versus Omega, they will, I think, All In Texas is their, it's their main event. You can clearly see it. Yeah, Brian Cage is brilliant.
I would have Brian Cage defeat Daniel Garcia and take that TNT championship off of Garcia. Because I think having Brian Cage with the TNT championship with Don Callis as his mouthpiece will elevate that championship to the level that it was when Christian Cage held it.
Because it hasn't been like that for a long time, which says a lot. It's a fading title. It's a very fading title. Oh yeah, I think that's fair. That's another fair comment as well. They need to stop giving dream matches on free TV. Some of them, yeah, I think if it's certain specials, yes. Not all of them needs to be on TV. The only thing is though is you can promote them really well for TV as well if you want to get the kickstart. I mean, last night's crowd was quite good, so you can get the reaction in that way. The pay-per-view strength, you do it in that way as well. It has a means to it, and I think they've smartened that up a little bit. Like one example, obviously, is the following segment. After this match, we get Ricochet coming to the ring again. I was never sure on Ricochet. I was just never sure of him when he turned babyface elsewhere a long time ago. He just lost, like that extra babyface turn that he made, like he overdone it and he just lost interest for me. But ever since he turned heel, I found a new way to appreciate him. And I quite like this segment, especially the fact that he's just gave up, and I like the fact that he's just like, he doesn't know how to react to the boos of the crowd, which I thought was very, very clever, like a clever way of selling it in a way. My only concern though about this one is you're putting the crowd in Atlanta. You're building this 3 weeks from now. I think they've chose the wrong crowd. Not because Atlanta's a bad crowd, Atlanta's a great crowd. I would say Ricochet versus Swerve for Revolution. I would have stretched it all the way to Revolution.
And they may still do so, because I could see, because like I was telling Matthew last night, this match should be a cage match. I'm just feeling that. So they may do they may do the match in Atlanta as just like a regular match. Like you remember they were doing some of the Swerve Hangman matches, and then finally they did the stipulation. So I could see them doing that. And also, technically, it's not in Atlanta. It's in College Park, which is a suburb outside of Atlanta because they can't run Atlanta. to be technical.
True. By dictatorship.
Well, I mean, the Atlanta Hawks owner is on the board of directors for WWE, so. And he owns State Farm Arena, which is downtown Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. And there's
So that's
literally
why they
nowhere
always
else.
run College Park. That's why AEW runs College Park.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see them building this up to have like maybe a stipulation at Revolution. And also, if you notice, Ricochet had these golden scissors as his pocket square. That was a really nice touch.
Yeah, I did like that.
And when Ricochet was in WWE, I just was like, oh, okay. His matches for me were like women's matches. Pee break time and refill my drink time. Him as a heel in AEW, I really am starting to enjoy his heel character. He's really making me hate him, and that's what a true heel does. And he's being a chicken shit heel at that. Like running away and all that stuff. Which we don't have many chicken shit heels in wrestling anymore.
No, we don't. It is a massive lost art. Like, the last time I truly appreciated him as a heel was Prince Puma back in Lucha Underground. He hasn't been an interesting heel since then. He's been a babyface since, and he was just working matches. He was never given a chance to be a character.
Yeah, he was just there for the, as the drones like to say, the flippy shit. That's all WWE wanted him for, was for the flippy shit.
Which is a shame, because he's shown diverse work in himself. If you allowed him to use this heel character in WWE, he would have been making shitload of money. Like, instantly. They would have easily have worked that really well, because they do that. Instead, they didn't, and he's done it here. It's good for him, and it's nice to see a change. Also, I caught a Ring of Honor episode and saw that AEW has talent like Preston Vance, who could be a star heading over there. Preston Vance is actually quite a decent worker. I think they're using Ring of Honor just to build him into that to actually see what he is fully capable of. But I think he's quite decent.
I believe today is his birthday, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice. Simple question: Alberto Del Rio or Alberto El Patron should never be allowed back in an American promotion again. He's a disgusting human being. I've got no time for him. None. He shouldn't. If he wants to go somewhere, go to OVW.
Yeah, there'll be some indie promotion that'll probably bring him in just for like the name recognition, but as far as him ever being like in a major wrestling promotion, I don't see that.
I can already tell you for a fact that TNA won't bring him back. They will refuse to bring him back. AEW won't sign him. I'd be very surprised if WWE ever considered him again. All things concerned, I just don't. Oh yeah, he should. He should keep there with his pal Marty as well. Keep him there as well after he ruined my childhood. Ish. My teenage years, Marty Scurll. He ruined. Bastard. Never enjoy your heroes. Never enjoy watching your heroes because they all ruin you. I mean, if you're a Stone Cold fan, ask him if he's got CTE. Oh wait, he doesn't believe in that. There we go. Obviously, Prince Nana comes out, whacks Ricochet with a chair after Ricochet is all mouth. Swerve runs him out. It's quite a sinister way of approach from Swerve. It was very slow, very methodical, stalking. Like he was almost like he was acting like a giant. I'm not sure if that was the right from a perspective of watching it. I think that may have been the wrong choice because Swerve is no giant. I don't think he should be slowly preying on Ricochet, trying to catch him. He should have ran after him. But I did like the fact that Swerve was maintaining strong presence and he was intimidating them at least, whether it be a quicker pace or a slow pace. He was intimidating Ricochet. And I, for one, really liked the cause he got from it. It was nice to see. Would you agree, disagree?
I agree with that assessment. And I like the fact that he didn't get his hands on him.
Yeah, me too.
So then you're going to build up to this match, which will probably be... we'll get something from Swerve this coming week, and Ricochet will interrupt him, and he'll take off running when Swerve tries to go after him. It's like the cat and mouse game they're playing with each other.
I can see their match potentially in Atlanta ending the disqualification, or a no count out, something like that. Maybe a double DQ, just to really let it go. To be fair, no matter what either of them did, there's no excusing one over the other. One's a very violent person towards women. Lots of DV cases, crimes against him and accusations, and also it has gone legal. Marty, what he did as well is disgusting, is also went legal. You'll never see him anywhere again except maybe Germany or Mexico. No one with a 10-foot barge pole is going to touch either of them. And if they do, I will be annoyed. Talent like that should be blacklisted. Mind you, that's just my personal opinion. It might be too strong, but I absolutely stand on it, and I refuse to. I refuse to differ from it. I refuse to change my mind. I'll tell you one thing that I did enjoy skipping last night. I really enjoyed skipping the backstage segments that involved a certain Chris Jericho in his New York Minute.
Hi guys.
Yeah, I gave up with that. Like, just no thanks.
And they said that Jericho put on his IG account that he is never retiring.
Someone needs to force him to retire.
I honestly, at this point, think the only way Chris Jericho will retire is if he gets a career-ending injury.
Oh yeah, massively, and I absolutely agree with this. He did absolutely ruin Saraya. Now Saraya has to be fair, she's her own worst nightmare. Like, for what she's done with other people, she is her own worst enemy. But what Alberto did to her really was horrible, and sad reality is that does happen. What did you make, though, of that segment? This is, now, obviously, for everyone that is watching, it is the segment in question. Back to back.
This is one of those parts of the show that was a miss for me. I really didn't need it. I'm pretty sure we've got our ROI on Jericho, so he don't need to be on every show.
Massively. Like 150 other ways. And she is her own worst enemy. Yeah, she always will be. Following on, we did get, again, last week we had this starting segment. It looks like it's going to be it looks like it's going to be a Revolution match, judging by it. Last week, Jeff Jarrett didn't even get to compete in the Casino Gauntlet. They would have, if he'd won that, he would have been in last night's title match, not MJF. MJF then interrupted him. He left the ring, refusing to even show him a pledge of support or work with him in the hopes of getting his Triple B back. And Jarrett's like, if I want to win the world title, I need to earn it myself, in layman's terms. This week, Jeff Jarrett comes out, greets Cincinnati. What a shame, because I wouldn't. And then out comes MJF, and it's typical MJF with starts well, he loses his temper, talks ill of the dead, talks to my man's wife that was a little bit too displeasant. But then you got the absolute brilliant verbalage of Jeff Jarrett where he absolutely runs MJF to the cleaners. And I'll say this now, MJF has already lost this feud. Doesn't matter what he can do. He can low blow Jeff Jarrett 100 times over. Jeff Jarrett's already won this feud. But what did you think of last night's segment? I think the choice of words definitely added into MJF being a heel. But it didn't need to have the whole concept of there was no need to bring up Owen again. There was no need to bring up Owen
I
again.
agree with that part. And
there's no need to bring up Karen Jarrett, although I did find the comment absolutely funny when he mentioned you can taste what a generational talent and Olympic gold medalist tastes like. I thought that was funny. I'll give them that. That was clever. But I just think it wasn't. From his side, I don't think it was particularly great. I think Jeff Jarrett the whole way carried that segment.
Well, it's like everybody's been saying, MJF's been giving these same promos forever. He hasn't changed it up. I'm a huge MJF fan. Love MJF. But his promos are getting boring to me to the fact where when he's showing up on TV with a microphone, I'm literally scanning Twitter. Because he basically just says the same thing over and over. I didn't mind the part that MJF mentioned Karen Jarrett. I do think that Jeff Jarrett got the best of this promo battle. And what he said about his girlfriend is true. Everybody pretty much knows she's a skank.
She gets around. She's had more free counts than
she's probably wider than the Grand Canyon. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. She absolutely is. Or if you want to think of it in 3 letters, she is one beginning with H, ending in E.
Mm-hmm.
She certainly is. Also, I want to protect my investment in this channel, so I'm not saying the word. But she is absolutely horrific. She is disgusting. She got her position
because she's dating MJF. Everybody knew that.
Yeah.
When she got hired at AEW, everybody knew that.
But we're supposed to believe she's got talent. I haven't seen any.
As one that normally hates women's wrestling and women in wrestling, period.
Which is fair. You've always been honest.
She sucks. She does not need to be on there.
No.
And I
don't know what she brings.
I think I told Matthew, might have been Matthew when we was watching New Japan. For New Japan, Veda Scott is fine for me. I wouldn't want her in like WWE, AEW as a commentator. I just don't like women commentators.
Which is fine.
Like, even when Renee was commentating for WWE, I hated it. I would literally bitch about it all the time.
Quite literally, what was said on that show was funny. Back in 2002, that was a funny line comparing Stephanie McMahon to the Grand Canyon.
So, that's how I feel.
We know that. We know that, the guy. We know
that's
that.
how we feel. At first, when MJF first came out and interrupted Jarrett, I was like, okay, I'm kind of interested to see them have a match.
But then 4.5 minutes
last night,
later,
I'm like, yeah, this was a miss for me. Either we need to get MJF back to the heel MJF he was when CM Punk was there, or we need to do a whole character change on him. And I don't think he is willing to do a whole character change.
Me neither. And I think what was telling was his lack of reaction to when Jeff Jarrett called him lazy. Because when you look at it,
His body of
The
work proves that.
yeah, he could have beaten. Now he calls himself a generational talent, but a generational talent would want to prove they're the absolute best week in week out, and he hasn't been worthy of the whole title for a long time. He hasn't been anything like that. Some of his world title reign was lazy at best. Some
And
of it was strong.
I think his downfall was when he had that temper tantrum at Double or Nothing, and nobody knew if he was going to show up to face Wardlow in that match or not.
Agreed. And
I think that was when his downfall became.
yeah,
I think
it's a strong point.
his ego has gotten bigger than his ability in the ring.
Yeah, and I do think this is fair as well. The feud with Adam Cole damaged him. It did to an extent because it turned him into something he has got no capability of being. It turned him into a babyface. And there's some talent that works really well as a babyface. There's some that works really well as a heel. MJF cannot do babyface. It doesn't suit him. He doesn't have the likability factor at all to do it. You would have to completely repackage and completely remold him. He wouldn't work as a babyface in WWE. And I've seen plenty of accounts saying it would work. No, he doesn't. He would really fail.
There's only two characters in wrestling, period, that you can like as a heel and as a babyface. And that is Randy Orton and Triple H. Both of them are really good heels, and both of them are really good baby faces when they want to be.
Potentially. You could add more to that.
Them are the only two that I really think could pull it off either way.
I would say, even though he's a clown, I'd say Ric Flair. I'd say Terry Funk, Bret Hart. When he turned heel, like the split dynamic in '97, Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, AJ Styles. I would say, I think, to be fair, Kenny Omega as well as another one. I think you can certainly do the twist of the two. But I would disagree with the assessment on the first two you mentioned. I think they certainly do that. They have a way around them. And I would say Rock as well. Steve Austin couldn't do it. He can only do one. I think he preferred being neither. But I think The Rock certainly showed that he can do both really well. Maybe even Taker. But that depends. I would never say the Big Slow. Because nobody knew what he was. Actually, Andre the Giant. He was an amazing heel. He was an incredible babyface. Chris Benoit was a good every single show. We're just going to rename you Chris Benoit. I love Chris Benoit at the time, but I just cannot. He was a good silent heel and a great babyface. He wasn't really a silent heel though. When you look at his work, when he was a heel, you could viscerally hear him because he would never shut his mouth. Jeff Hardy is an example of a person who failed as a heel. At first, yes. His 2003 heel turn with Shawn Michaels absolutely was a catastrophic failure. If it hadn't been for his addiction problems, I think he's 2010, late 2010, early 2011 heel turn TNA actually was going somewhere. But then addictions caught up with him, and that was the end of it. That was the end of him at that point. It was never really going to be taken seriously as a heel again, babyface, because of crowd support. But I do see your point. I think his first heel turn really was bad. It was awful. It was catastrophically bad. Back to this promo though. There is one thing about it though that I do have a major issue with though. This promo could have been the making of these two to be the feud that you actually want between veteran and younger talent, but it became more about personal jabs that actually had no relevance than it actually being about the body of work. Like, MJF had the perfect example to shut down the fact that Jeff Jarrett at one point literally made his success because he buried talent. And he did. He did mention the fact that he created TNA to be the top guy, but he didn't go into it further. I would have done. I would have reminded him that you held talent back by holding the title, the NWA title, 6 times. That you had pretty much all the main top matches. You had the top feuds more than anyone else. You made the most money whilst being the owner. Instead, he just backed off, and I'm like, you're asking for trouble now. Like, it lit off. I agree. I would have slapped that in. I would have slapped a dig in about BG James. I would have just taken the piss out. How did it feel to know that it was the roadie that sang your song? You know, that little bit of 90s touch. You can't escape it. I would have reminded him that he couldn't do his own song, and losing one of his former best friends for something really stupid. But they didn't. And it went way too long.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is true. I will give them that. They don't have Jeff Jarrett definitely doesn't have the same level of buzz as CM Punk. I do agree on that one. I do agree. But when you see him actually trying with someone he believes in, he will really do anything to put them over. But I think that is gone now. I think that opportunity is dead. I think Revolution will just be if it ends up being a Revolution, I think it's a one and done. I don't see anything else for it. What about you?
I agree. I'm to that point where I just want a one and done, be done.
Mm-hmm. Would you change Jeff Jarrett's final year? Like, obviously he didn't technically retire when he said he would, because we know he can't help himself. But I would book Jeff Jarrett like what WWE did to Ric Flair. You know, like the 07-08 run when he said, like, next time he loses a match, that's him, he's done. I would have it where Jeff Jarrett is literally under pressure every single feud, every single match, where he has to prove he can stay in it until someone beats him, like a Jay Lethal. Like, that would be bittersweet if Jay Lethal's the one that actually retires him.
I could see that. I actually like that idea.
Mm-hmm. I would do it all in.
I kind of feel like Jeff Jarrett is the same as Jericho. His ego won't let him not be a performer.
Yeah.
Like, he's got to be in that ring.
He doesn't know how to escape it.
Yeah.
It's a shame because I'm not much of a fan of Conrad and all that nonsense. But I have listened to Jeff Jarrett speak about, like, on his podcast, like, now and again. And I actually like the way that he actually speaks about how pro wrestling was for him when he was going through as a young talent and doing his own company and all that, and his own trials and tribulations. I actually like when he speaks, but I feel like he's so stuck on wanting to be in the ring when he doesn't need to be.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a shame. I hope he gets to end it the way he wants to. Like, I want to see every talent do that. I'm glad.
Well, I mean, I agree with that, and I think he'll get that opportunity, given how we've seen Tony Khan give people that want to retire, like Sting, like Daniel Bryan. Does Jeff Jarrett need to be AEW World Champion? No. Could I see him retiring as International Champion, TNT Champion, Continental Champion? Yeah, maybe. Give him a mid-card title.
It would be interesting. I know I said there that maybe Jay Lethal is the one that ends him, because they've got such a strong relationship together, and it would give
him a mid-card title and then let Jay Lethal take that mid-card title off of him.
And it's a heel versus babyface dynamic, a good one, because it would genuinely shock people if Jay Lethal turned on Jarrett, considering how close they are, especially because Jarrett gave him his big break. It would be a huge shock. Will it happen? I don't think it will happen. But if it did, I would say that is very good creative booking. If they get to it, will they? We'll certainly find out. We'll certainly find out. Is it mad that we got the Hurt Business in a trios tag?
No, because I like seeing MVP in the ring and him doing occasional in-ring is fine with me. I don't want to see MVP in the ring all the time.
Agreed.
I do feel that this match kind of laid the foundation that, we're going to take the tag belts off of Private Party and probably give them to Lashley and Benjamin.
I think so. And I think they're realizing that as well. I mean, that's why I'm glad that they've made the effort to book it. They've made that effort to book it, and obviously that when that match actually does happen, we're in for a real treat. It was nice that they already
needs to happen at Grand Slam, because as we've seen, Private Party's really done nothing with those titles. And it's not their fault. I like Private Party. It's not their fault.
I'm exactly the same as you, yeah.
I don't know. How do I want to say this?
They've been fumbled. And
they are.
I know you like the guy. You've got some bizarre, attractive fantasy to him, and I suppose each to their own. But Tony Khan, with all due respect to the man, he's fumbled Private Party, because I don't think he knew what to do. I don't
think he gets a grasp on tag team wrestling. He needs somebody that was a former tag team wrestler to take over that division. If I was Tony Khan, this is what I would do. I would have certain people that I know were good. So if I had a great singles wrestler, say Daniel Bryan, got a great creative mind, let him kind of lead the way on that.
Good shout. Jeff Jarrett was one I was thinking about in the same mindset.
Yeah, put them two together. You know,
if he hadn't left because of situations dictating him elsewhere, this would have been good for William Regal. I don't think he left purely because of WWE. I think he left purely because there was situations regarding his personal life, and he made that much smarter. Which, to be fair, is understandable. I've got no ill will with that. I know a lot of people were annoyed that he left. I wasn't. I was like, I can see it coming. It makes sense for him to leave. I just think it
makes sense. It made sense for him to leave. I think my issue was the way he went about it.
Yeah, which is understandable.
But I would have me someone that, was... And I don't know if they have anybody on that roster.
If you're going for tag teams, I would say Billy Gunn.
Oh, yeah, Billy Gunn. He was great with his tag partner. I remember my father-in-law used to yell that every morning when he would come in at 7 a.m. Literally, he would walk through the garage and yell, "Your ass better call somebody." And I was like, oh, Lord. Let him be in charge of the tag division.
It would be very effective. And I agree with this comment by Mo as well, that Private Party should have won the titles when they defeated the Young Bucks. Yeah, they left that. They should never have got to a rematch. It should never have been a second match. It should have just been one. because the Young Bucks needed to get away. They kept the Young Bucks back too long as well. It was absolutely ridiculous. Not as good as Eddie Edwards.
But I mean, that's how I would probably do it, and have them all do their little creative thing, and then bring it to me, and we discuss it. Yes, I like this. I like this aspect, but can we add this or take this away?
Yeah.
Instead of it just all being TK going, okay, I want this, and this, and since it's my money, I'm going to get this, and this.
He needs to be flexible.
And I don't think, and it's going to pay me to say this because I adore him.
Finally,
I'm a big TK lover, but my man, you have got, for the best interest of your company, you've got to get some help. You're not invincible. You need some help. It's okay to admit when you need help.
Yeah.
And some of these people you got on your creative team, because I'm not going to give free clout, need to be fired. And I'm going to leave it at that. And those that know who I'm talking about, Matthew, Reece, you probably know too.
Oh, yeah, I know that. Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. I'll say this as well, and this is something that really does need to happen. I know a lot of people tell him to keep his eyes off social media. I think he needs to be a little bit vigilant at the minute with social media, because it ties into this. His backstage in order. If I was him, I would keep an eye on those accounts that are, and I mentioned it on the Raw review as well, because I don't like when people do this, when they beg accounts to just drop talent, like talent should just get violent to leave. He should keep an eye on Phoenix, because Ray Phoenix will pay attention to social media. We know he does. Tony Khan loves social media. He needs to keep an eye on that, because eventually Phoenix will just get the idea from somebody who goes, maybe I should just go punch someone. If that happens, you take that bastard to court.
The backstage stuff, I think he really needs someone.
He needs somebody to put them in line.
He needs someone that they respect and that can handle talent relations. I don't think Christopher Daniels is that person.
I think that's why he's no longer that type of individual. I think that's why he's decided to step away. I think even he knows that himself, that he's not. I don't see this happening, Mo. I know I said it earlier on. I don't think Scott D'Amore will join. He's there purely, in my opinion, as one of the leading owners and partners of Maple Leaf Wrestling. I think he's there purely to establish strong relations with companies, to have these partnerships. You'll see him back at TNA.
I don't think Scott D'Amore wants to be in a creative role with a boss. I think he wants to be in a creative role where he's the boss, as he is with Maple Leaf.
Yeah. I think that's why you'll see where he'll bring in, like, he'll directly link with Tony Khan. He'll link with the head of TNA, like with Anthem and all that. He'll link with WWE, Nick Khan. He'll go to Nick Khan directly. And he'll do it with New Japan with Gedo and Tanahashi. And to be fair, even women's promotions, he will say, like, my production, my product, I'm inviting you guys in because we want to establish a strength of pro wrestling. We want to establish it for the fans, which are more important. Let's get talent in, let's build something, and let's do it. Look at the promotionals, like the title feuds that they promoted at their shows. They had their talent not go over. They had the opposition actually go over because it was their titles. They didn't make a title change. They're like, no, we respect what we've got here. So I think that's something that he will hold dear. He's always been like that.
AEW has pulled down all of Ray Phoenix's merchandise also.
I have saw that. That's a big step.
So that makes me wonder, either they're negotiating an out for him, or either
they're aware.
Or either TK is like, okay, you want to play hardball? I'll play hardball. I'll just pay you your base salary to sit at home for a year.
Yeah. It's a good comment. Even I'm not sure why there's a constant issue of backstage drama.
Because you've got young talent back there that thinks, okay, I'm older. Don't be offended, Reece. I know you're younger than me. I'm old enough to probably be your mother.
Well, I'm not going to ask the question, but perhaps.
The younger generation seems to have a problem with listening to older people who have been there, done that.
Yeah.
And I know this from experience with my daughter. I have been there, done that. I'm only telling you this because I already know.
Yeah.
But, and I admit, when I was younger, I was the same way. I didn't believe the stuff my parents told me because I thought they were old and stupid.
Yes.
And I think that's the issue, is that the younger talent is there to get famous on social media instead of actually trying to enhance their own talent in the ring.
Exactly. Like, this is a great comment from Mo. Get rid of the talent that aren't a draw for your company or complain. You don't need it. One of the reasons of the downfall of WCW, you need people like Darby, you need people like Mox, Bryan, who want the best for AEW. And then immediately, Hangman Page said he literally doesn't feel the need to listen to advice from veterans. Yeah. Now, I like Hangman Page, but he did make that comment.
I hate Hangman. And when I seen him say that, I said, this is exactly why I hate you. You are a little cocksucker.
Yeah. Like, I know not a lot of people appreciate his, to be fair, not a lot of people appreciate his daughter in the business. I think she's a great talent. She's just a bit of an arsehole. But Tully Blanchard openly said it on a shoot interview that he was told to his face by a young talent that his advice isn't worth listening to. And I'm sorry, but Tully Anderson was part of the greatest wrestling faction of all time. He's one of the greatest workers in the business. He's got a great mind for wrestling. And that would be
like Cody and Dustin Rhodes coming out and saying, I didn't listen to my father.
It would be ridiculously awful.
Or Charlotte Flair coming out and saying, I didn't take advice from my dad.
Exactly. The slating all around for that would be insane. They would get absolutely ridiculed. I'm sorry, but like, you've got to listen to people like that. Like, I would 100% listen to a veteran. Unless it was someone who I absolutely know would not do me any favors, so I would refuse to listen to Hulk Hogan. 100%. I would never listen to Hulk Hogan. But
I mean, he's got the reputation of only looking out for himself. So
exactly.
You know, you have to look at your sources and weigh your sources on whether you want to take advice from them or not.
Exactly. If you don't work together, you'll fail together. Exactly. I already know if I was a young talent coming through, it would be difficult to get a hold of him. But if I was a young talent and I chose to go into make a career pro wrestling, there's 3 particular wrestling veterans that are still living. Actually, hold on, 4. There's 4 because there's one I can't leave out. There's 4 wrestling veterans that I would go to saying, I have an aspiration to get to the top, but I'm going to work for it, but I want to get your advice on in-ring psychology. I want to get your opinions on what I should cater to for my way of working instead of just accommodating the crowd. I want to build with it. I want to get the most out of my time. So my 4 guys, Bret Hart. Always I would go to Bret Hart. The guy doesn't lie. I would go to The Undertaker. Purely from an experience background. I know obviously it's been mentioned in the chat. He is one I would actually go to. I would go to Kurt Angle. And I would go to Sting. Those would be the 4 that I would go to. That are living and actually still with it. If he had been alive still, I would have went to Kurt Hennig. To be fair, William Regal is someone else I would actually ask advice from. But the 4 instantly, Bret Hart, Taker, Sting, and Kurt Angle. They're the 4 that I would go to if I wanted advice. I think they're, for me, a responsible set where they actually don't lead young talent astray. think there's a lot of older talent that absolutely would. Like, I would never ask Kevin Nash for advice. His knees would give out after his first sentence, but I would never ask him for advice. I would... Actually, to be fair, no, I would ask AJ Styles as well. But I don't think I would ask Shawn Michaels for advice. I don't think I would ask Triple H for advice. Because we've seen what they can do with young talent, and it's not always been great. I wouldn't ask... Trying who else I wouldn't ask. I'm not sure if I would ask Rock for advice, even though I was a big fan of Rock growing up. I don't know if I would ask him for advice because he's a bit like Hogan in a way. Like, he does pick and choose his moments where he will do that for a young talent, and then there's times where he won't. So like, it's a bit iffy. I wouldn't ask Steve Austin for advice. I think it's key. I would absolutely ask Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson for advice, though. I don't know why nobody in AEW took their advice. It made no sense. Like Jake Roberts, another one. I'd ask him for advice.
Well, on the flip side of that, also, young talent, I've heard, young talent has asked for advice, and then when they've been given the advice, they haven't taken the advice. So the older vets are like, okay, you asked for my advice, I gave it to you, you didn't take it, so I'm not going to give it anymore. So they're kind of gatekeeping. So it's like a no-win situation.
Yeah, I think obviously unfortunately you could get good advice, but it actually comes across as bad to you because it might not actually help you. But you can always counter the argument. This is another thing I think that young talent don't do these days. Like, if an experienced talent gives you an idea, but you think
go try it out and see, and if it don't work, it don't work. You try something else.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like a scientific experiment.
Exactly.
You try it out, it doesn't work. Okay, we'll try something new.
What harm could it do?
Yeah.
If anything,
I think it's a lot of the older vets want to gatekeep a lot of the stuff, and the younger generation is, I know everything already. I don't need to listen to you.
Exactly.
And there's no middle.
Yeah, I agree with this. Someone who will literally put the talent line behind the scenes so they don't act foolish. Yeah. Dustin's another great one that you've mentioned. I mean, Mo's obviously, Daird's obviously mentioned Taker is a great name. I've then followed that up. But like, Mo's mentioned the likes of Sting, who I also said, Roberts, who I mentioned. I'm going to say this now to everybody who's listening. Jake Roberts has got the best creative mind in wrestling. The second is Raven.
Now, I think Dustin Rhodes might be that guy you could put in charge of the backstage area as your talent relations guy.
You'd respect
because
that.
He's got enough respect. I think he has enough respect from the talent.
Yeah.
And he would also be fair.
That's true. He was going to do that. He was absolutely going to do that at WrestleMania 14, which is unheard of. There's one name in particular that Mo's mentioned that doesn't get a lot of credit for his behind-the-scenes work. He's done it in a lot of promotions, and he's just a genuinely good human being. Jerry Lynn is a great aspect for that. Like, I really like him, and I know I've never disliked Jeff Jarrett. I've always liked Jeff Jarrett, to be fair. Shock story. I did say to Matthew, I think I've said it a few times elsewhere, but I said that Jeff Jarrett should be the one that's running either Dynamite or Collision. Jeff Jarrett should run the creative for one of those shows. He would actually probably make it better. The irony. Because I think he would give young talent a chance. Even though he's a bit of a muppet at times, another good person you should actually go to advice for just getting your foot in the door, Paul Heyman. Not for obviously getting your money lost, but just a genuine influence. He's another one. Just really good guy. Yeah, he's awesome. He's such a great guy. You had another one, Arn Anderson, you let him walk. Why?
I think a lot of the Arn Anderson leaving had to do with Brock.
Was that his son that
Uh-huh.
passed?
That Brock was Anderson's son.
Yeah.
Because even on the indies, Brock is not getting over like Brock thinks he should and like Arn thinks he should.
Yeah. There's a heavy bias towards like this is another thing as well. This is what I think is actually true. There's a heavy bias that certain talents have towards their kids when their kids aren't talented enough. Like, we're about to review one match in particular, and this guy jumps over bloody eggshells to say his son is good. But I'm sorry, Taz, but your son sucks. Hook is boring. I'm sorry, you can give him the best looking wrestler, but the guy's got no personality. And he's working with one of, if not the best heel in men's side of heels right now. Christian Cage struggled to get any ounce of personality out of Hook in that match last night.
This was another miss for me.
Yeah. Again, this could have been a whole lot better if it was someone else. Especially if it was Kip Sapien. Again, he's overshadowing Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne is actually being lost in the shuffle.
I love Kip Sabian.
He's excellent. I think Kip Sabian's a better fit for Christian than the Waynes are. I think he needs to abandon them both. He needs to kick them both to the curb. I might get a lot of negative responses for that one from the chat, but I think it's time for him to just re-establish his faction and kick Mother Wayne and Nick Wayne to the curb. I think he can get a whole lot better with other talent in there. They missed the trick. He should have had Hook recruited. He would have actually done better recruiting Hook than working with him in the ring. But, doesn't happen. It's a DQ finish as well. Like, it means we're potentially going to get another one out of these two.
I see this as a triple threat with Shibata, Hook, and the returning Samoa Joe, which I called that last night on Matthew's watch along. I said Samoa Joe will return. I think we're going to get those three versus Wayne, Sabian, and Christian Cage.
Yeah.
And I mean, I hate to say this. I would give Samoa Joe 6 months with Hook, because when they had paired Hook with Samoa Joe before Samoa Joe left to go record Twisted Metal,
yeah,
Hook looked like he was improving a little. I would tell Taz, he's got 6 months to work with Samoa Joe. If Samoa Joe cannot improve him, he just doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And then your choices are send him to New Japan, let him learn the New Japan style and maybe come back, or just cut him and let him go to NXT and see what they can do with him.
Exactly. I think that's very fair. And I don't actually disagree with it at all.
I mean, if Samoa Joe cannot improve you in 6 months, then maybe wrestling isn't what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
And I would say the same with like Bryan Danielson. Let him work with them too, since, Bryan Danielson has been backstage here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Let him work with them. If them two cannot improve you, wrestling is not your thing.
Yeah, 100%. And keep him away from talent that are going to lead him astray, like Jungle Jimbo. Backstage, keep him away from Jungle Jim, because he will ruin him. I think this is a unanimous agreement as well, but he has started to improve with the likes of Brian Cage, but it is notorious that, and also Big Bill to be fair, and Murder Hawk. I absolutely agree that Tony Khan does have a problem pushing big men. Because the only reason why, for me though, the reason why he has that problem is he definitely wants to give the smaller talent, like the more athletic worker, the ball to run with. Like, he won't admit it because he's the head of the organization. He's the head of the rival organization. But Tony Khan definitely values the work. I would say the likes of Michaels and Brett did in the 90s. Not the generic big man. They were the smaller, hard-working talent who knew what they were doing. And I would say maybe early to mid 2000s as well across the landscape. The whole landscape of pro wrestling. You can tell he's a mark for it. But the bigger talents, he does struggle.
I agree with that comment also. But you had the likes of a Mark Henry there within your organization who could have helped you with these big men, who has a keen eye for scouting talent.
And he's now got his son hooked to WWE, and his son looks like an absolute machine. I don't think he'll be as good as Mark Henry, but he looks like a machine that you can go, actually, hold on here. It's a testament. I do agree with you. Even I don't know what he does right now, but why are you, even though he's had more heel turns than pretty much anybody, but why would you not ask the Big Show for advice, Paul White? He's got great experience. How would you book a big guy? Go to Paul White. Just be like, what would you do? It's a bloody mental thing.
And to the people that say that that AEW doesn't have the experience there, they've got it. I just don't think it is. I don't think Tony Khan can comprehend. I need to ask for help. I think that's the issue. He cannot comprehend in his brain that it's okay to ask for help.
Exactly. I mean, he's already been mentioned in the chat. We've already mentioned him a few times tonight, but Jeff Jarrett has literally managed he's booked literally one of the biggest and best giants in the business. He booked Abyss. Ask him before he become an extreme fumble. When Hogan got there and made him an extreme wrestler, which is breathe. But when he booked him like a monster heel, are you telling me that you would want to lean into that? He was one of the best giants I've ever seen. Well, or big men, to be fair. Abyss. Insane worker. Why would you not ask for help? Literally ask for help. There's no shame in it. I don't get it. This is a great comment by Mo as well. If I was TK, just release Malachi, release Miro, release Ricky Starks, Ray Phoenix. If they don't want to be there, why hold them? Let them go to WWE and waste away an inflated roster. You know what's funny as well? See if they release these these 4 guys, for example. They've already let Pentagon Jr. go, and I've already gave my opinions on him. I hope it works out for him. If he lets these 4 go, he's already reducing his own inflated roster as well. So he'd actually be doing himself he would be doing that side of it a favour. But he would also let them, the sense of it, pro wrestling, the one thing that matters across all the board is the talent have got a place to work. If they're not on TV, let them go. End of the day, if you've not got a room for them on TV, don't keep them there for the sake of it. You're just going to let them fester. And then you'll get the constant abuse online, the constant negative that you don't want. And people will go, I don't want to be associated with you. That's something you don't want to be.
I'm going to counter your argument.
You can, if you wish.
To a degree, I agree with you that they should, if you don't want to be there, let them go. However, these people signed a contract.
No, I do agree with that.
And the amount of heat that TK took for adding injury time onto Phoenix's contract, where was that same energy when WWE added time onto people's contract? You didn't hear them bitch about it.
True.
If you don't want injury time added onto your contract, then your agent needs to negotiate that in your contract.
Yeah. Which is literally also easy in negotiation.
If you're pitched creative and you turn down creative, Why are
You
you
deserve that.
crying? They're trying to get you on TV. You're refusing. You get paid to do a job, regardless of what it is. If your boss says you got to put this dude over, then you need to put this dude over. You signed a contract.
Some, not all. Women were the ones that were more vocal than men. To be fair, we know why. Wardlow was white hot and Tony dropped the ball. Yeah, Wardlow was a massive loss. Like,
I
just
think a lot of
really-
that had to do with the MJF meltdown.
Yeah. Hogan is a guy that no person should ever ask for. You can ask Hogan for advice, but all he's going to do is lie to your face. TK should stop forcing guys like, yeah, all of them. The arm bringing guys in the company.
Okay,
Yes.
stop right here. Mo. We didn't
Don't
have
you-
Orange Cassidy on last night, did we?
No.
We didn't
That's
have
true.
the Elaine on last night.
No, we did not.
Okay, so those were positives.
Yeah.
So maybe he's listening a little bit.
Hopefully. He'll properly listen if he kicks them off their contracts. That's real listening. Because one of them should be working in Burger King and the other one should be working in a bloody rap studio and proving that he isn't good enough. Gets told to his face, you suck. Garcia. I mean, I will grant the first part. To be fair, he can
Yeah.
work. I will grant
I
that.
agree with that.
We've always said that with Daniel Garcia. He can work. But yeah, he's got the charisma of sandpaper. Wet paper works. Sandpaper, a dusty cloud, a hanging shit out of a toilet. He's got all of that. That's his personality. The minute I used to take him seriously, I've always said this. I used to take Daniel Garcia seriously until they stuck him with Chris Jericho, and they sucked all the pro wrestling side of him out. They took away what he wanted to be. He wanted to just be a better wrestler, and they turned him into an entertainer, and he can't do it for shit.
I
He
think
looks so
what
slow.
would make me like Garcia more, because I agree he can work in the ring. Maybe if they gave him a manager to be his mouthpiece, because he has no charisma. He ain't good at promos. Maybe if you give him a manager, it might make him a little better.
He's an unlikable Shibata. He's an unlikable Shibata. That's what I think of him. That is very true. That's very true. You know who I would stick with him? I put Dean Malenko with Daniel Garcia. Because he ain't got no personality either, but he's actually quite decent on the mic.
Yeah, but
And he's a
Dean
realist.
Malenko has Parkins, so he's not.
Oh, he does. Yeah. I'm surprised Don Callis hasn't went after Daniel Garcia. Mind you, that's probably because he's got a brain. This is very true. That is very true. Because you mentioned your favourite again, I'm sick of seeing it. I would go to The Undertaker or Benoit. Jerry Lawler? See, I agree I agree on the first name. In some manners, I agree on the second name. The third name, I would never go to advice for. The fourth one, it would depend for me. It really would depend. I would never ask Jerry Lawler for advice. That's a fact. Yeah. The only thing is, though, is Ethan Page is the only one who actually matters to their company. Sean Spears has not been relevant since he lost that feud with Cody Rhodes. He's had nothing. He's had nothing since.
I liked Ethan Page when he was in AEW. I've met Ethan Page. He's really cool.
Yeah, he is.
But what he said when he went to WWE kind of made me not like him.
Yeah. No, I know.
I mean, it's not AEW or WWE's job to get you over.
It's your job.
It's your job to get you over. And to be
Yeah.
you get yourself over, then you get more TV time.
What's up, Doug? How are you, my buddy? Spears is there because he has a rest skill with Tyler Breeze and wants to get that down. Yeah. He's another missed trip, to be fair. They never
And
really
if I'm not
backed up
mistaken, I think his wife is pregnant with another child.
No idea.
I think I seen that come across several months back that she was expecting another child.
All right, okay. So he probably.
So that may be why he hasn't been there.
Perhaps.
Like the same thing with Okada. Everybody was bitching because Okada had been missing. And I'm like, yeah, his wife just had a baby.
He's going to take time off for that. What do you expect?
Yeah.
Have some compassion. Cheers for that update. Hopefully United actually score a goal. I say that, but who knows. Up next, though, was actually, apart from maybe one or two names omitted that should have been there, we got a very good women's gauntlet.
My favorite thing to see about this match was the imbeciles on Twitter or X saying there was no storyline progression from this match and that it was a waste of time. I could sit here and pick you out 3 storylines that probably progressed.
Statlander and Willow Nightingale for one.
Mm-hmm.
Julia Hart and Jamie Hayter.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony Storm.
Mm-hmm.
And
then people were fussing because Tony Storm won, saying that it was predictable. Well, yeah, we all knew she was going to win because she lost the title to Mariah. Then she's doing this whole new character with her amnesia.
Exactly.
And they're going to Australia.
Exactly. You're not going to have... You're when you look at the 7 people that are in this match, you're not going to have Statlander get the main event. Not because she's bad, it's just it wouldn't make sense. You're not going to have Jamie Hayter in the main event. Right now, she doesn't deserve it. Megan Bayne, the best performance in the entire match by a mile. But she wasn't going to get it right away, but she is going to. Julia Hart's not long recovered from her injury. She's not long back working. She's doing her own thing right now, which is smart. You're not going to put her in the scene. Willow Nightingale, at the moment, no need. Tony Storm made sense. Harley Cameron, this might upset a few people, but Harley Cameron was the weakest in this match.
Which I expect because she's still very green.
Yeah, I would have had someone else in this one, to be honest.
And there was a lot of people fussing online about Julia Hart taking the pin. When Harley Cameron was right there, she should have took the pin. But then you're going to kill Cameron's momentum that she's been building up.
Yeah.
But the best thing about this whole match, Matthew, you have to agree, was Mariah May on commentary talking to Taz saying, now that you have that new knee, you want to roll around a little. To which Taz says, no, thank you. I'm happily married. Mariah goes, oh, I meant in the ring. And he goes, no, I'm retired.
Yeah, I quite like the quick wit back and forth for them. Like the comments from Mo and Dared have been great as well. Megan Bayne was the best one in that match, in my opinion.
I've also seen rumors floating online that she has re-signed with AEW, but I haven't gotten like official confirmation.
I know obviously I wherever she goes, I really want her to do well. But she was before I came up with the idea that potentially Jordan Grace might not leave WWE. I said the first name that I said should replace her was Megan Bayne, because she actually has the exact appeal and look. It for me fits, but she has what you need. It's really good. I like what Harley Cameron's doing as well, Mo. But I would have changed up a little bit in the match. I would have had someone else. But she is brilliant, Megan Bayne. Frankly, even though she's a good worker, it's clearly been a mistake for Camille to go AEW. It has not worked out. I would honestly think you let Camille go. You let her go and do what she needs to do elsewhere, because it seems that it just hasn't resonated, and you just get Megan Bayne in that position. You just run with it. Yeah, she did AEW Dark and Elevation. Jerry is not my one for being a bully heel, for being a heel. Bully Ray or GBL. No, GBL great heel. Bully Ray is just a crap heel. So damn boring. I could never take him seriously as a heel. I couldn't even take him seriously as a babyface. Every time he was on scene, I was like, oh yay, fat fuckers on TV. Not exclusively. Not exclusively.
According to the Tree Licker, Sean Ross Sapp, Megan Bayne has been signed with AEW and is expected to be on TV going forward.
She's replying to Mo. I really like Persephone. I think she's excellent. The problem is if both organizations keep signing talent, you're not going to allow them all to grow. You can't overflood your divisions. This is why we need these other organizations out there to have strong rosters themselves. Because then you can really see when it's time to move on. You can see elements, but I really like Persephone. She's really good. This Gauntlet was a good match. I liked the commentary. I thought the commentary was good, apart from Excalibur. His commentary was weak here. This was his weakest of the night, in my opinion, his commentary. Apart from the Christian Cage match, to be fair, because he kept getting moves wrong. But I liked the dynamic. I liked the match. It was good. I think Chris Statlander clearly is a Kurt Angle fan, because she was doing Perk Angle moves the whole bloody match, which was quite impressive. But it was a story gauntlet, and it was good that they fulfilled that. They added to it, but they really didn't do enough in the very end. I didn't like the fact that it was won by a roll-up, though. I know she's meant to be a rookie, but I'm actually a little, like, this is my only detestable moment. I'm a little bit sick that Toni Storm's wins continue to be by the roll-up. She needs to do a little bit more than that, even though she's meant to be an amnesiac rookie. Look a little bit better. I disagree, Matthew. It's not often we disagree, but I do disagree. I don't think Camille actually fits. I think Megan Bayne is what AEW wanted from Camille. It just hasn't worked. I don't think they've got it right by her. You know, it happens. I think she should have chose a different company and then go AEW. She went there and it hasn't worked. It's actually went downhill for her. It's a shame, because Camille's amazing. I've always liked Camille. I think maybe the problem is they put her with somebody that there was no chemistry, and they tried to think it would work. Her and Mercedes Moné were dead from the very start. It should have been Camille ripping her to shreds. I know you like calling me that, man. I know you like calling me. I think so as well. I think she was. But then again, I don't think WWE actually made an effort to go for her either. So maybe that's another thing. Who knows? What did you think of the Gauntlet match, though?
I liked it. I think it was just the right amount of time, had the right amount of star power in it. And that, like I said, I think the right person won.
Yeah, me too.
If you're hell bent on storyline, the right person won.
I just think it's funny that people claim this wasn't a story. There's more story from this than Jey Uso getting a world title shot. When you look at world championship comparisons, if you want to look back and forth 1-to-1, there's an example, folks. I wonder why. Like the good people, don't like the bastards. There's a hint. Perhaps, Matthew, we never know. Either way, it hasn't worked. If she comes back, though, I hope they give her a different program. I hope she gets a different program, though. I don't think she's going to get it, though.
I think they'll give her a different program. I also think that she has a legit shoulder injury.
Yeah.
Because she was at WrestleCade in an arm sling.
She was fuzzed.
And then if you go watch the interview that Covalent TV did with her, she did mention that her arm is starting to feel better. So she's probably like taking, having to work strength back into that arm and that shoulder.
Yeah, she looks weak from that side. Really weak. Mo, to answer your question, any idea what's going on with it? I generally find that AEW passed on him. I don't know why, but I think he was all ready to go there. I think he realized the way he'd done everything he wanted to do in TNA to an extent, and he was ready to go. But they passed on him. And now he's going to do Maple Leaf. I think he'll do Maple Leaf, and then I think he'll go to New Japan for a while. I think it's quite bizarre, personally, that he didn't go to AEW. I thought the writing was on the wall. It was a good place for him to go straight away. But
if he went to AEW, then he's probably just going to get lost in the shuffle until some of these contracts are up in AEW.
That's another good point.
I don't, if I'm a free agent wrestler, like I don't see Josh Alexander going. I could see Josh Alexander going to Maple Leaf.
So do I.
Maybe going to New Japan.
I hope that I personally still.
But then again, you never know. They may have signed Mike Bailey and he shows up at Revolution.
I know, but what do you do with him the time being? Does he still do the indie stuff? That's the only question. That's the only thing. But who knows? I wonder. I want to see a lot of talent.
As much as he's done, I think that man needs some time off.
Yeah, he's awesome. Like, he is awesome. I'll get to your question in a minute, because that's a good question. Reece Wrestling Promotions presents the Rip Corking. You behave yourself. Like Aries and you just like the wrongins. That's what they are, as we call it, the wrongins. Aries absolutely is insufferable. Elgin is just a dirty bastard. David Benoit, oh yeah, I know. I feel sorry for David Benoit. He is a good guy. I know you follow TNA a lot. Is there any talent contract coming up that you'd like to see go to AEW?
Josh Alexander, but I don't think he will.
He is one of them, but I personally just want him to stay. I want him to stay, and I want him to continue flying the flag for TNA, and I want him to regain the world title. The other one, he was there, but he was there on a short-term deal, but he's gone. Mustafa Ali is one.
Mustafa Ali posted something on X today.
He was one of my superstars of the year last year.
I think I might could see him showing up in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't mind seeing a feud with him and Ricochet.
So would I.
As Ricochet being the heel, and give me Ali as maybe the tweener.
I think the character.
Or I wouldn't even have a problem with them both being heel, because I'm not one of these people that, I can only have a face wrestle a heel. I don't care.
I like the character that Mustafa Ali created on his own when he went to TNA. It was one of the best gimmicks of 2024, with the whole political thing that he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that working as a babyface, just a heel piece. So Alexander, if he doesn't re-up with TNA, yeah, I like him in AEW. It makes sense, because then he can do G1 hopefully. Mustafa Ali number 2, Nick Nemeth is the other one. For me, Nick Nemeth is still one of the top 5 in the world. Like,
I don't see Nick Nemeth going to AEW, because I think he might have some hard feelings on how things played out with his brother.
Yeah, which is fair. I think the only thing is for him though is he
But
would.
I think his
would
brother
test
thought he
himself.
was better than what he really was.
Yeah, whereas Nick Nemeth knows he's genuinely one of the best. And let's be real, Nick Nemeth adds something to that some of that roster they don't have. A genuine seller.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's before anyone comes at me and says, "Oh, I'm not knocking AEW here." I'm saying they've got a different level of selling. How Nick Nemeth sells a match is completely different to like a Will Ospreay. You get that explosiveness, but then you get the real hankering for the pain, and you see it withheld in. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again: Nick Nemeth is the best seller since Shawn Michaels. In
I
terms
mean,
of
if you don't believe that, go back and watch some of the matches that Vince put him in as Dolph Ziggler with some of like the trashiest people.
Yeah.
And he made them look really good.
I said at the very start, and Catherine kind of agreed with my take to an extent. I'm a little bit wary if they don't send the top card of NXT to WWE to actually showcase the talent. But also, if it's more one-sided than the other, I'll be really disappointed. But at the moment, because it's not fully established on TV yet, I've not got really much else to say until I physically see it on TV. Then I'm really going to say something. So at the moment, I'm waiting. I hope it doesn't end up being one-sided. If it does, I'll make sure it's her. Don't worry, because I don't like seeing companies get taken for a mug. What talent on the indies right now deserves a big chance? Ooh, not Zilla Fatu for one. Because of what he did to GCW. You know what? There is one. Actually, there's one plus his partner, who's a great valet. 100% Michael Oku.
I knew you was going to say that.
I would also say Luke Jacobs. Because if you watch Gunther, you'll see Luke Jacobs is actually similar, except much more violent.
I have another one, and it's a female, which is shocking because I'm not big on females.
I like that.
Riho.
Riho, yeah. Matthew's going to come in here all guns blazing now with the heat emojis and the slivering tongue, I guarantee you. even though Riho's incredible. I was going to say that Haley lasted, funnily enough, from OVW as well. I like her gimmick. I think she's really impressive. Even though she's technically in TNA, but she does actually do the indie scene as well. I'm going to say Dani Luna. I'd have to say Dani Luna. I think she's another one who deserves a chance on the bigger stage. I'd have to be honest. It would be those four. Oku with Amira, Luke Jacobs, Haley from OVW, and Dani Luna. Massive. They stopped. The weird thing is, they had him perfect. When he went to SmackDown Live in 2016, and he won the IC title, and he had the SummerSlam main event, you were thinking they've finally got this guy. And then they went and let it down here. I was like, why? Why would you do that? This guy's great. But they fucked up. I used to respect their work ethic until the real life personalities kicked in. They showed they were pathetic. And after that, it's just over. And yeah, he does. That's true. He makes everyone like.
Nick Nemeth can make a broomstick look good in a ring.
100%. His match with he had a great TV match with Mustafa Ali on Impact last year, and he had two amazing matches with Josh Alexander. The guy's brilliant. One of them was an Iron Man match. It was insane.
And he's super cool in person. I've actually met him in person.
Same. He's lovely. He's a lovely bloke. Talked to him for hours. I gently could. If I'm TNA, I'd be very worried. I think that's a fair comment to say as well. If it becomes so one-sided, I will genuinely be angry. No, he doesn't. Trust me, you don't want to see him. if he hadn't done what he did to MLW and GCW, I would agree that he deserves the opportunity. But when you deliberately, because you think you're getting signed to WWE, when you actually, you might not be. Because what does a company value most? They value, well, apart from the fact they can make money off you, they actually value if you're actually committed to your job. And regardless of what Booker T does, that guy's a fraud with his reality wrestling. Some of that is fraudulent. But even though he's a legend, some of the stuff he has actually done is fraudulent for the fact that he's deliberately pushing to keep so they can get these talents. Zilla Fatu literally chose not to show up to advertised events where he's actually advertised for the main event. He was advertised for main events and he chose not to show up because he thought he was getting signed by WWE. You know what's funny? He hasn't been signed anywhere else since. I don't give a shit if Rikishi's any relative to him. Someone needs to have a conversation with him. Jacob Fatu, he found out he was going to WWE. You know what he did? He continued to wrestle for MLW. He didn't leave until he was literally signed. Look up, honestly. Look up. When I read it, I was genuinely horrified. She's doing brilliant, actually. Her work recently has been absolutely incredible. Yeah, she's doing brilliant. I really enjoy watching Great Muta's daughter. She's done really well over in Japan. She's done really well. He needs about 90 more matches. He is a reality check more than anything else. He does have the nepotism issue, yeah. I want to see them earn it.
I'll be honest. Matthew can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was Zilla Fatu that had a match at WrestleCade that we were at in November. And to be honest, I was not that impressed with him. I think Jacob is better.
I think that was the other one, not Zilla, sorry. I think that was the other lad. He's got another brother, I can't remember what he's called. He's a big, not stocky, but he is a big lad. Can't remember his name, but I believe it was him. Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately. But just because you're related doesn't give you the right to not go and do events that are advertised for you. At least Josh Alexander, who loves the indie scene, actually came out and publicly apologised for not making an event. At least he had the decency. Zilla went and carried on, thinking he was the big guy. He's a prick. And I agree, Jacob Fatu. He has an intangible quality that's hard to put a spin on it. He's something else. It is definitely the worst way, yeah. I agree. It is the worst way.
I wish WWE would turn Jacob loose and just let Jacob do Jacob in the ring.
Yeah. It's kind of ironic because Mo's now mentioned Penta and Phoenix. It's exactly what I said about Penta on Monday when I tweeted it, and then I reiterated on Tuesday when I said that I'm all for him being presented like a WWE talent in that way where they're so big on presentation, and I've got no issue with that. But I want to see him just do his own thing because that's what he does.
Oh, I've seen somebody give him an excuse for the
botched leg drop off the rope.
Yeah, WWE uses real ropes, not cables, so he didn't get as much bounce as he was expecting.
Even though that's nonsense, he literally misstepped. You can see before he even touches the ropes, he missteps, and I'm a bigger Penta fan than most. Mo probably comes close to me for big Penta fans, apart from Penta's kids. That's how big a fan we are.
I love that excuse when, okay, if you watch it and actually pay attention, he missed it.
I can see this happening, unfortunately, at Bill. I think they will have a similar drop to like he did with Nakamura. Nakamura's he is a generational talent. If MJF declares himself a generational talent again, I'm going to send him a picture of Nakamura. I'll be like, no, this is generational.
They'll either drop Penta like Nakamura, or they'll stick Penta into the LWO or with Rey Mysterio. Because WWE cannot help themselves with just stereotyping people.
I was hoping to get through the whole show if someone reminded me about the fact that it's something I don't want to see. Because God almighty, I'll die inside. I'm like, the only way I would genuinely accept him joining that stupid verse if he breaks Mysterio's arm. Sorry, Rey Mysterio fans. It's because they're better than his American talents.
And the fact that he probably couldn't go over there and buy them like he wanted.
Yeah.
Because Japanese culture is very high on respect, which is something I don't think Vince is to a degree as the Japanese are.
Yeah. I mean, I look at the reality of how long it took them to even have an inclusion of the Great Muta in their entire organization, which makes no sense. But Mo says, I don't like to say this, but I feel Penta and Phoenix are going to be injured more because of the style they have to do now. Them slowing down is going to help. Exactly. They shouldn't have to slow down. I said it to Mo in a reply tweet to him, and it was just the way of the work, and I was like, the missteps were actually genuinely confusing to me, because he was actually in the ring with someone who, when you look at WWE talent, is probably one of the safest and most adaptable workers. Chad Gable is genuinely, in my opinion, probably the safest worker they've got. And yet, he didn't miss a beat. You're on mute. He didn't miss a beat, by the way. Chad Gable didn't miss a beat for me. It was Penta.
But it's like Daryl said on Covalent TV, you could see the mental clock in Penta's head now, where you never seen that in AEW.
Didn't even see it in Lucha Underground either, or TNA.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's mental. Like the reality that Chad
You
Gable
can
is
see him trying to, I've got to do the WWE style, and you can see it in his head going, like he's counting his steps.
Yeah, but there was no need for him to do that. It took away from his performance, and that's where all the missteps came in.
Yep.
Not yet, but it is expected. Yes.
When his contract's up, he'll be there.
We do. We are absolutely alike, man. We're absolutely alike. Like the reality of it is, for me, I would treat the Lucha Brothers like they treated Rey Mysterio when he first came in, and they let him go with it. He always made the crowd electric. He always got the crowd going, and he never worked it. If you actually look at Rey Mysterio's matches between 2002 and 2000, and I think maybe before he got injured in 2007, when he came back at SummerSlam, when he faced Chavo Guerrero for the following, like, again, they love their SummerSlam matches. Between 2002 and 2007, for me, Rey Mysterio never worked like he was a WWE talent. He worked like he was in WCW. He never worked their style. If you look at those 5 years after that, after the injury, I think he was told, right, that's it. And it hurts, because he is genuinely that good. You could go anywhere and you would see him working insane, and people were like, that's amazing. And it's a shame, because he is one of the greatest masked men. I prefer Jushin Thunder Liger to him, but it's a reality. Abel, that's because realism kicks in when you listen to me, my friend. Honesty is, as we always say, and I'm going to put it back up just for you, your mission, your grand objective. Hold them all accountable. Hold them all accountable. Doesn't make you a fake fan, by the way. Makes you a real fan.
as long as you can give solutions to your criticism. Don't just be
Absolutely.
criticizing to be criticizing.
Exactly. And that is the massive statement. He'll be on that. He will literally be signed right away when he gets them. When he gets out, he will immediately sign. Unless you pair the Lucha Brothers with Ray and Ray only, their time will be a complete failure. I would honestly just have. I think Ray Phoenix should be associated to Rey Mysterio exclusively. Unless you're pairing the Lucha Brothers together, because for me, I want Penta to be a heel mid-card champion and work his way into the main event. I actually think Pentagon as a heel is much more dangerous. I preferred his. I loved when he was Pentagon Dark. So I'm hoping Baldy, say in the nicest way, Baldy, see for just a random Raw main event, give me Pentagon Jr. versus Io Sky. Because I would like that match one more time, thank you. There's one for your guys to go back and rewatch. They do absolutely have their flaws. It would be great. Pentagon Dark was incredible.
I could see him using that gimmick in certain matches that would call for it, kind of like Finn Balor did with the Demon character.
Yeah, 100%. I've got a weird thing. After we review this main event, actually, I want to come back to you about Finn Balor because I know, like, to be fair, everybody here pretty much likes Finn Balor. we just have concerns for him, even more so after that dull main event on Raw. But I want to talk about this main event from Dynamite, where again, it wasn't as dull as the Raw main event, but it had, ironically, the Raw main event had the same issue I had with the Dynamite main event. And absolutely do not ever apologize. I like it. Keep it coming. I like it. Jushin Thunder Liger had that when the mask comes off. It was great. The Demon is dead. Like his hopes of being world champion. No promotion will ever make him a credible opportunity to be world champion again. None. New Japan wouldn't even make him a world champion if he went back. I said there I had a little bit of Kishin Liger was great. I said I had an issue with the Dynamite main event as I did with the Raw main event. I thought they were dull. This was dull in a different way. Because it was the same issue I had with the Raw main event. It's these constant finisher kickouts. There was far too many, and I also think as well that I actually did prefer this one to Raw, to be fair, because Raw went way overboard with the finisher kickouts. There was more than that, but it's still the emphasis. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. There was a lot of finisher kickouts on Dynamite as well. But I felt like this match would have been a whole lot more special if we actually got to see the world title. I know it's meant to be locked away, but this would have actually felt more special to Hobbs' chances of winning, even though we didn't win it. At least if it had opened the briefcase to actually see the title or actually see what's inside. Emphasis on the world title is actually been a little bit lost. But this world title match was better than the championship match they had at Daly's Place last year for the IWGP title. Even though there was a little bit of a duller impact, mostly because of the finishers, this match was much better than the one at Daly's Place. But what did you think about this main event, and would you agree, or do you think I'm being a little bit harsh?
I agree with the kick out of the finishers. It's called a finisher for a reason, which it means it should finish the match, right?
Yeah.
I think
Agreed,
I like that Hobbs got to showcase like pretty much whooping Moxley's butt for a little while.
Yeah.
You knew there was gonna be fuckery.
Yeah.
I don't think they buried Hobbs with him losing because you knew he wasn't going to win anyway.
Yeah, especially it's not just because of who's world champion, but also because of where it's in. He was never going to win in Cincinnati. When does Moxley ever lose in his home state?
Yeah. Now the question becomes, what does Tony Khan do with Hobbs after this? That's going to be the big question to whether Hobbs is buried or not.
Yeah. I think you'll find out, ironically.
And also, I mean,
this is a great comment. This is a great comment.
The ref being distracted numerous times in this match was a little overboard also.
Yeah. It was giving me, unfortunately, I'm going to have to say it, but this was giving me Roman Reigns vibes. It was not, it's not healthy.
And I'm probably going to, I've got a hot take. I don't think Moxley really gave 100% in this match.
Yeah,
he looked like he didn't care.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly read out Mo's comment, and I'm going to come back to that because there's something you just said that is actually very telling compared to what commentary said. This is what I said about commentary, where I'm actually really annoyed with. So Mo says he thought Dynamite was okay. I'm not going to give it a rating; it doesn't deserve, but it was underwhelming to me. Outside the opening match and parts of the women's match, it was I concur. What you said there about Mox didn't give 100%. Commentary said he looked leaner, and he looked in better shape, and he looked very up for it. I don't think he wanted to work with Hobbs again. Not that he think it's not because I don't think he rates Hobbs. I think he's already done it with him.
I don't think Moxley works good with big men, period.
Yeah, I agree because we've seen him do it with countless big men across a variety of promotions. In my opinion, he's only ever had one good, one very good to great match with a bigger talent. And that was, for me, Lance Archer. He's the only big man who seems to have got the best out of him. Anyone roughly the same height and weight class, like weight build, works with him. Anyone else? Nah. I think Murder Hawk is the only one. Yeah, it's a shame, really. It is a shame, but it happens. What do you think is prime New Japan? Actually, no, hold on, that's a bit too harsh. 2009 up until 20. That whole 12 years, 2009 up until 2021. Even though COVID was a bit harsh, I would say that 12-year period, a little bits of 2008 was really good as well, like Nakamura coming into his own. Tanahashi was becoming an even bigger babyface, but I think really it kicked off with 2009 onwards in his biggest years, when like AJ showed up and all that. Like when he showed up, he really got an extra dimension. Chris Jericho, to his degree, he did great in Japan the second time. I would say that. And then Okada and Omega's rise. Yeah, that would be it for me. 2009 to 2021. And some of Ibushi's work as well was great. Naito's run was fairly decent until he had to drop down, and then after that he was done. Which is a shame because I'm an absolute massive Naito fan. What about Brody Lee against Moxley? I mean, God rest his soul. But I didn't like their matches together. It didn't have it just didn't fit. And I'll tell you who I blame for that. I blame Eddie Kingston. Because he appeared after their matches together, ironically, in AEW. Eddie Kingston showed up soon after, and he completely stole the attention. And Eddie Kingston's a bum anyway, so fuck him. We definitely don't, Abel. We absolutely hate him. I don't like that mentality where wrestlers don't give 100% with people they work with, stay professional, and give it all. Exactly. This is a valid question. Where is the Death Riders angle leading to? Is it leading to something bigger, more talent, adding a surprise person? I said it before. I don't know if you heard me, Mo. I think you did, Catherine, because I was in the shows at the time. But I said I think the real leader of the Death Riders is Kenny Omega.
I can
wasn't,
see that, but
I think it's Darby Allin.
I don't think anybody except for Moxley and Tony Khan know where this is leading, and that's kind of what they want. They want the mysterious aspect of it, so you don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
In order for it to play out, it does need to lead to something bigger. So, like having an Omega be the one behind them, while Omega's being a babyface, would be perfect.
It would be an ultimate twist. And this is another thing as well. They're going to run this angle until Darby returns. They are going to. But for me personally, if you're choosing to climb Mount Everest over choosing to become the de facto winner of a championship, then you shouldn't be getting it. I would escalate to someone else. I think at some point you're going to see Copeland, then immediately Christian Cage as well. I think that will happen. I think Jay White will get his moment. I think Omega's going to reclaim the title. I think heel Hangman's going to happen. It would have been nice to see Darby do it because it makes sense. But I don't know. I generally don't know. If Omega is end up the real leader, though, that would be an amazing story.
Like I said, you keep Omega wrestling as a babyface, as making this comeback, while eventually going to be the one telling Moxley how to overtake AEW, so to speak. It's him being the mastermind behind all this.
Yeah. I think it kind of adds to the point as well for the interview that he did as well. The interview that he did with Tokyo Sports when he wants all the talent who left New Japan to go to AEW to help AEW grow. And then obviously they then go back to New Japan to show the strength. I think it's just a manner of reality that you can really build something strong here. You branch all them together. Mo says, I was thinking possibly AEW talent that feel forgotten and just take revenge.
They tried that.
If he hadn't been a twat, Ricky Starks would have been perfect for this. Unfortunately, they're trying to run this until Darby's back. I just don't want it to turn into an Aces and Eights situation. Oh, God help me. Please don't remind me of that faction.
Oh, Reece, that's your favorite faction because it's got your favorite person in it.
Never. I hate that faction because, ironically, that faction only had one genuinely young talent you can build around and you can actually lead to the whole point of a faction to work around taking over. And that was... name, I'm trying to remember it.
Bully Ray Dudley.
no, not him.
I know.
Wes Briscoe. Not Garrett Biscoffy Pie. Not Devon. Although to be fair, Luke Gallows looked slim in there when he was just Gallows. He looked Doc. He looked good there. But when they started adding in, the minute you add in D'Lo Brown, all that rubbish, I'm done. I was like, hurry up and get AJ Styles as the champion and fuck this thing off. Yes, I was. Because it was before what happened. The minute it happened, I was done. Same with Marty Scurll. Marty Scurll was generally one of my favourite pro wrestlers until I found out what he did. And then after that, I wanted the man broken. I wanted him broken. He was, yeah. He was genuinely ruined. He was already with Kurt Angle. He was doing great work with Angle. And then they put him in that faction and they fucked it. Yeah, me. You say my name. Only. you say my name because it works. And also, if you say my name, something magic does happen. Although I can't remember what my name is. Maybe you can remind me, Catherine. What's my name again?
Wait. It's coming to me. Give me a second. Oh, I think it's Reece. Russell.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in
Reece Russell.
I believe in
Reece Russell.
cause they love him.
I will always find my pal for making that for me because it's just pure funny.
I love that.
Before anyone asks, that is my Welsh friend who that's not my voice. That's my pal who's Welsh. But it's just pure funny. I can't. You know what? Just for the full 30 seconds. Go on then. We'll put on the full 30 seconds.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in
Reece Russell.
I believe in
Reece Russell.
cause they love him in Scotland and 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 Scotland. They say I believe in
Reece Russell.
I believe in
Reece Russell.
You
Absolutely.
bulked up there, Reece. Been working out there.
I wish I had muscles like that, I'll be honest. Yeah, he should have. He really should have. I'll let that one slide. I'll let that one slide because Michael Hayes is cool. Used to be. In the 1980s, he was cool. So, Dynamite. We're at 2 hours 17 minutes. Catherine hasn't tapped out yet. She's done the Iron Man match. She's lasted longer than Nia Jax. But when you look at Jesus Christ, Abu. I will say this, by the way. I've actually met the guy. He is actually a decent human being. He is a decent human being. Oh, I've also got something just for I've got something for Werner, which is fun. That I'll bring up in just a second. Yeah, I want to genuinely see that great level of advertisement because that's what makes companies grow.
Well, that goes
Otherwise,
back to Tony Khan needs to get rid of the gatekeepers.
He does indeed. I want someone just to send this to Werner, right? This is purely for his eyes only. So Mo or Catherine, I just need to find it. 1 second. Where is it? Just give me what I want. Like, I will find it. Come on, hurry up. Maybe in here. Whilst I'm trying to find it, I've actually enjoyed Nia's return. See, some of it I actually did enjoy. I won't deny it. I've enjoyed some of it. Let's see if I'm in here. I'll do it this way. I'm trying to find something that will absolutely infuriate the man.
Stir in the pot, Reece. Stir in the pot.
Oh, I am. I am absolutely stirring the pot. And I'm really gonna make people, well, one person particularly, jealous. I might just need to go into my own own media from here and do it. Let's see, where is it? Still going, still going, still going. Gotta do a long search. I mean, you'd think I'd find it by now. It wasn't that long ago.
Did you delete it by chance?
Oh, I wouldn't delete something like this. Don't worry. I wouldn't. I would not delete something like this. It's just unfortunate when you search it, it didn't want to show. So I have to scroll down the media section of my own Twitter to do this. It's really annoying. Luckily, it was only 2023.
Oh dear Lord!
I know. I need to go. I need to hunt it down and find it so I can put it on screen if it lets me. Not there. Right, I have to go on my phone now. That's how bad this is. I have to physically go into my phone. Let's see. Nope. It should be on here. I apologize, guys. I really just want to make someone laugh. Oh, trust me, Tiffy Time's already failed. Spoiler.
Definitely spoiler.
Because her promo was a massive letdown.
Oh no! That's what I'm gonna start calling you now, Reese.
I mean, to be fair, if you...
It's not bad. I mean, I'm a big HBK fan.
I mean, to be fair, to put me in such a great bracket of status, I suppose. I mean, although to be fair, I don't bury talent. I elevate.
Yeah, but I hate to do this, but I'm gonna have to cut out because it's dinner time in my area.
I know. I'm trying to find what I'm looking for. It's really annoying. I'm hoping I can find what I'm looking for. But put it this way, I was just going to put up the picture of me standing beside Deonna Purrazzo.
Nobody needs to see that. Just...
I do. So do I. It's a horrible name. And Mo's saying bye to you as well.
Bye, Mo.
Becky will beat... Oh, of course she will.
Of course she will.
Yeah, they're all going to... You've got... It's generally awful what's going to happen. I've got no... You know when you don't have time for stuff like that? I generally have no time for it.
Yep.
Because I know what's coming, and it's a shame, but what more can you say or do that hasn't been done? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I find that's the reality of it, but I'm at that point now where I just don't particularly care anymore, because what can you say, really, that hasn't been said before?
That is true. But I have enjoyed being on the show with you, Reese.
Me too. It's been great seeing you. It's been fun.
So maybe we do this again next week, depending on how heavy my school load is.
Just you give me dates and times that suits you, and I'll be like, yes.
Sounds good. So see everybody later.
Absolutely. And
I'll see you streaming your content soon.
Check the Mid podcast out, guys. It's one that we all respect as well. It's a great one. It deserves more.
All right. Thanks, Reese. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
And yes, Mo, absolutely. Fuck them drones. Useless wastes of time. Scums of the earth. Scum of the earth. Come on, give me what I want. Oh, are you? Decent. I was thinking about it, but her schedule will be too busy, so I was like, I've got no chance. Besides, I've got my own. I've got a few that I want to do. I'm really trying to get Kurt Angle. That's my aim. If I can get that, I'll be happy. Actually, it's going to be in here. Oh, I'm a dummy. Guys, why didn't I just go and check my Twitter bookmarks? Yeah, I would say the most overrated wrestler, to answer a question, the most overrated wrestler for me, I would generally say John Cena. I would say John Cena. Oh, and just beside this one, he's a dope dude and all, by the way. He was a good conversation. So there you go, Werner. Guys, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. I'm going to get out here, but I will be doing more content tomorrow and over the weekend. But I'm going to get out because I've got a new monitor to set up. So, I'm going to get out here. Stay safe. Look after yourselves. Covalent TV, Graps TV, the Mid Podcast. Check them out as well. Subscribe to the Weekly Steelchair, and I will see you tomorrow. And yeah, that's what he does everywhere. He's a twat. Yes, you do. Check that one. I'll watch you whilst I'm watching Impact. In the meantime, arrivederci.